I've been married twice. So my oldest two boys, Christian will be 20 in January, Carmelo is 17, he'll be 18 in June, and my baby boy David just turned 3. Well, Chris and Mello, their mom, I mean, she's told me like she's never dated. I mean, she might have dated, but she never brought a man to the house. You know, she's a mama bear. I'm blessed that both my boys' moms are like the best mate I could have had children with. Even though we didn't work out.
Welcome back to another episode of Just My Baby Daddy Podcast. It's your boy AJ.
It's the bougie baby daddy Eli. Today with us we have a very special guest, somebody that I've known for, or we've known for, well over 20 years at least. From the days out on the basketball court to party hopping at all over the North Carolina to watching him grow into one of the most influential and empire building entrepreneurs that I know personally, with Coco Christie, Tropical Ices. Yeah. Hey man, look, I'm gonna tell you something. This man is one of my inspirations from even beating him in golf. Hey, look, he's a prodigy now, Mr. Lou Torres.
Thank you, sir, man.
Hey man, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Hey man,
appreciate you, brother.
One thing I will say about Lou, man. Lou is one that talks. He talks about anything and everything to anybody. Yeah, and his story is one that we had to capture on here because not only is he an inspiration as an entrepreneur, but as a father, this man does it all. So, you know, he's going to be one that everyone's going to want to hear from. So,
nice.
I mean, Lou, since you talk, right, we're going to start you off with the easy question.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
First question we ask everybody, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be a father?
To be a father. Next to life that God gives us, which is the biggest gift, the biggest blessing, the next in line is being a parent. So being a father, to me, is the next best thing than life that God gives us. Because I'm responsible for the well-being, the nurturing, and not just raising them, but preparing them for life, and not only their life, but setting them up to be husbands, fathers, grandfathers. They set the tone for the next 2 generations.
How many children do you have?
3 boys.
3 boys.
3 planned boys.
3
planned boys.
Man, you know what?
There should be a lot more, but
oh man, come on, man.
Plan B.
Line name pull out.
3 boys.
3 boys, man.
3 planned boys.
3
And that,
planned
you know,
boys, yeah.
I think you're the first person to acknowledge that you had planned children.
Yeah.
You had planned children.
Nah, look, that's something that you don't hear very often.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a different outlook on parenthood. Yeah. And so when you're talking about your boys, the way you're talking about them and you know how they were planned and all of that, but when did you figure out how important fatherhood was to you though? Was that did that come naturally?
Actually, I just had this conversation with one of my young employees who's about to be a daddy himself. Mm-hmm. And I said, I know it's scary. I mean, he's old enough and mature enough to handle the responsibility. But I asked him, I said, you probably don't think you're ready, you know, financially or where you're at in life. But animals, lions, monkeys, they can't speak, you know, communicate with each other. They don't have money, whatever, but it's a natural instinct, God-given instinct that when you have a child, it just kicks in.
Right.
There's no book, there's no textbook how to do it. It's just a natural instinct that just kicks in. And I had my first son at 24. Mm-hmm. And, you know, senior in college, coming right out of college, no real foundation. But when he came out, it was game time. Like, everything just fell in motion.
Ah,
yeah,
got you. Now, I didn't know where you were going when you started talking about animals. that was a little deep. I didn't see where that was going. But how did you learn? Because you're talking about animals,
Yeah.
but who taught you, or where did you learn, and what book did you read to teach you how to be a father?
Now, there is no book to teach you how to be a daddy. There is none. But there's a lot of positive, influential men and women, especially my mom, but as far as men in my life, and each one played a different role in helping me parent.
Right.
For example, I was blessed to have a father and a stepfather. My biological father knows this Bible inside out. I mean, whenever I have a biblical question, he's the guy I call. He's also GQ. He's a sharp dresser. So
you got that from
I
him?
get that from him.
I won't say you
I get
GQ,
that
but
from
I
him.
got
my
you. I
mom.
got you.
My
You all right.
mom.
You all right. You know.
But my stepfather though, he's old school. He's blue collar. I mean, he just worked hard and provided and made sure that we were taken care of. The house was, bills were paid, food was on the table. He worked hard, and coaches. I was an athlete. Even if single mothers out there, if you have children, if the father's not involved, my mom kept me in sports. I love sports, period. But I had a ton of head coaches or teachers or mentors that groomed me in many different ways.
So to piggyback off of something you said, so you said you had your father and your stepfather.
Yeah.
How was that transition for you growing up, like that adjustment? Because if you said you had your father, it's not like your father wasn't around and now I just have this guy.
Yeah.
Now I have both and I have to adjust and acquiesce to both parents. So
That's a great
Big word.
question.
That's a big word,
That's
too.
a great question because
yeah,
like
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
like it. I
And
like
it come from the big fella. It came from me
Yeah.
this time. Yeah.
my father, he and my mom divorced, or my mom left and separated when I was 5 years old. And it was abrupt. My dad had challenges in life, drugs and just hardships. And my mom, single mother of 3, and she was young. And we were all back to back. My brother and I 10 months apart. My sister Natalie, I think she's about 3 years younger than me. So my mom had 3 kids by the time she was like 22, 23. So when my dad was abruptly taken out of our lives at the time, it was a better situation for my mom because it was a lot of pain and heartache. For me as a child, it was a tough transition because nobody explained it to me. So I spent the next few years just being angry and not knowing how to communicate my feelings and didn't know why.
Right.
In school, I was a great student, but I had poor behavior. Acted out. Poor self-control was on my report card. Need self-control. And it wasn't until as an adult when I realized I wasn't a bad kid. I just didn't know how to communicate my feelings. But my stepdad came in, who I call my father. Let me not say stepdad, and it's really my bonus dad, because that's my father. He raised me since 2nd grade, and I love him to death. But it wasn't like that in the beginning.
Yeah.
When he came to, my mom introduced me to him. I just got back from Puerto Rico for a Christmas vacation in 2nd grade, and she came to pick me up from the airport with him. And I'm sizing him up like, yo, who are you? In the 2nd grade.
Early.
Because I was the man of the house.
Yeah.
At 5, 6, 7 years old, I really had that mentality that I was the man of the house. And now here's a new guy. And for years, I gave him a hard time. I wasn't disrespectful to him, but he coached my teams, my baseball teams. He took us to Disney. He provided for us. He took us out of the Bronx in a 2-bedroom, 14-story apartment and moved us into the suburbs of New York with an in-ground pool and a diving board. I went from one extreme to the other.
Wow.
So I got to experience being poor, to live in a middle-class life. But it wasn't until I got to college, my freshman year in college, when I was sitting in my dorm room and just reflecting on my journey to school and just thinking about all the things that man did for me. His name is Jose. And if it wasn't for him and setting that example of living a middle-class home, in a middle-class home, working hard. He commuted into New York City every day, hour and a half there, hour and a half back, just to make sure we had a better life.
Wow.
And it wasn't until my freshman year in college when I realized what an asshole I was.
Yeah.
As a kid, I wrote him a long letter and apologized and just thanked him for who he was in my life. And now
Wow.
that's my.
But what was that moment that you realized what he had done? Like, what was that trigger?
I was just sitting in my dorm room, bro. Like
wow.
I said, just reflecting on my journey from the Bronx to, Newburgh, New York, and now I'm in North Carolina,
Yeah.
going to college when my mom didn't go to college, my dad didn't go to college, but here I am in school, like, wow, I'm here. And just thinking about all my other friends that were still back home who didn't have that structure or that support,
Yeah.
who a lot of them are still
Yeah.
doing the same thing, just living.
Yep.
I don't want to talk down on certain people. It's just
It just is what
it's
it
just
is.
it's the cards that they were dealt.
For sure.
And either they turned them in or they kept them. But I was dealt a good hand, and that's when I reflected on while I was in my room at Shaw University. Like, man, if it wasn't for this man
Yeah.
planting this seed and making me realize there's more to life. And that's what I want. I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
I remember where I'm from.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go back there.
Now, those stories that you're talking about with your father, with your stepfather, those aren't rare stories. A lot of people deal with those.
Yeah.
It's just how do we grow from them, or what do we pull from them, right? And so when you look back on it, what are some of those key elements that you gravitate or pull from what you've grown from that you introduce and use for your kids?
So, like I talk to all my employees or young men that I mentor,
Yeah.
whether you had a positive man in your life or not, that man is influential.
Yes. Yep.
So
That's true.
So
That's
so
true.
you can use it like, okay, I want like my dad Jose, my stepdad Jose, I want to provide and work hard just like my dad Jose did for my kids. But then I also, and I don't want to bash my dad, but he had hardships, coming up. But I wish my dad was at my baseball games as a child. I wish he took me to the circus. I wish, he taught me how to swim.
Yeah.
So, although those were traumatic times as a child for me, I didn't want to do the cycle. So he was my example of what I didn't want to do, want to be.
Yeah.
So you can use, whatever hand you're dealt, positive or negative, how you react to it.
Because that piece right there is something that I pull from as well. So that's why your story is so, it touches me, because I also grew up, my father left, and then I was raised primarily by my first stepfather from early age to when I got to college. And so when I used to look back on it and wish my father was at my baseball games or was at my football games, or even came to a college game, or even came to Fayetteville State. So I used to look back and with a little bit of pain. But just like you said, it's so important that some of the best lessons that we get are from what not to do.
Yeah.
And so that right there is something that, like I said, I love that you said that.
Yeah.
See, I had a whole different scenario with my step parents. Like and it's gonna sound bad to say it like this, because I really don't know how many times my mother's been married. To be honest, like I don't, and I'm apologize.
Look, my dad been married
five
4 times, 5 times.
See what I mean? It's something like that, right?
4 times.
My mom was
Right?
3, so.
Right? But
Yeah.
like, I can't tell you not one conversation I had with none of them niggas.
Really?
Not one.
You just didn't want to have conversations?
No, like
or?
I don't even think they cared. Like it was never a thing. Like I really honestly feel like I grew up with a single household, like just my mother. And I had that conversation with my mother. She said, "Yeah, you pretty much did." Like these guys were there, but they weren't like. I remember, like the first time. I think the first husband, like right after my father died, or something like that. I remember him being there my first day of school, but I do know by the time I was in 2nd grade, he was nowhere to be found. So I don't remember when that happened, when that broke off, or the other guy. So I think the role of a stepfather or a step-parent, it shows in YouTube that it is very important, right? Speaking of that, are you currently with like the mother of your children?
Nah, man, I'm divorced, man, unfortunately.
Right. So how do they have anyone else, and they have to adjust themselves, your children?
Not that I know.
But they stay with you as well, too, right?
I mean, I don't get in their personal business.
Of course.
You know, I respect their boundaries. I've been married twice. So my oldest two boys, Christian will be 20 in January, Carmelo's 17, he'll be 18 in June, and my baby boy David just turned 3. Well, Chris and Mello, their mom, I mean, she's told me like she's never dated. I mean, she might have dated, but she never brought a man to the house. You know, she's a mama bear. I'm blessed that both my boys' moms are like the best mate I could have had children with. Even though we didn't work out, like if I die today, I know they're good. Mm-hmm. They're mama bears to the core.
That's extremely important.
Yeah. So with my oldest boys, she's made it clear and a point to tell me over the years, even though it wasn't my business, but she says I'm not bringing a man into their life. They have a father. Ooh. She might have, yeah. Ooh. She said she might have dated, you know, but she's kept them away from the boys. She never, you know, wasn't in a serious relationship enough to bring them around them, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she's a woman. She has needs. If she had a maintenance man, okay, shit. That's, I mean, I'm not a maintenance man. So, you know, but no, they my boys never had to cross that boundary or deal with that.
But even if they didn't, how did you navigate co-parenting? Like, was that a challenge, or were there things that you learned from having to do that?
Because you had to do that. I mean, you might have skipped one bullet, but you got the other one. You can't dodge everything.
So my oldest two boys, I mean, the thing with my first wife, and is that we loved each other passionately. We were young and in love, and we were trying to do the right things when we didn't have the tools to succeed. And there was a lot of hurt over the years that we never resolved amongst each other that sometimes came out with our parenting techniques. But at the core, we both love our children unconditionally.
Right.
So when it was time to come together as a unit, she knows I have her back, and I know she has mine. There's a lot of times where I didn't agree with how she handled things. Yeah. I think she should have done that differently. But for the sake of argument and peace, I just let it be.
That sounds like maturity. Were you always mature in handling it, or did it?
I didn't like conflict.
Okay.
You know, we argued a lot, and
he likes conflict.
Yeah, nah, I don't like conflict. If I feel strong about something, then I'll stand. I'll put my foot down or make my stance. But if it's like, you know what, whatever, because no matter what I say or do, you're still gonna see it your way. Mm-hmm. And my focus is my children, and that's my why.
Right.
Whatever I do in life is for my boys. And that was my primary focus, was that one day they'll be adults, they'll know that their father loved them and that their father did this, and that. They won't understand it now, but you just do the right thing at all times, even when it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And when you're talking about your why and everything that you do for your boys, so I know you as a pseudo athlete. I ain't gonna say like an all-star elite athlete. I mean, no hate.
I'm not gonna lie, bro.
You're a decent.
But I am blessed, though.
You're a decent point guard.
Yeah,
decent.
Man,
I mean, you're pretty decent. But when we talk about support, like in different fields. When you're looking at your son, because you have one son who is playing baseball.
Baseball. My oldest son is in California playing collegiate baseball.
So what is your key to pouring that type of support in anything that they do? What is the key for you to set them up for success and pour into them, and how do you do that?
Verbal affirmation, financial affirmation, physical affirmation, just letting him know I'm there. And as he's getting older, especially now that he's in California, there's been plenty of times where he could say, "Damn, my dad came through. My dad came through. My dad is," and that's the relationship we have right now. At least that's how I see it.
Right.
Because when I started the business, I live a simple life. You guys know, like, I pulled up in a Honda Accord, a 2000 Honda Accord with 370,000 miles on it. I could easily go in any dealership on Capitol Boulevard, get whatever I want, and walk out with it.
Right.
But that's for me.
Yep.
I don't want that. When I started the company, I said, Lord, bless this business so that I can take care of my family and bless others.
Now, I remember when you first started, you said those exact same words because you really believe in giving back and pouring into different people, whether it's your kids or whether it's mentoring, because you started out with young employees and you poured into them. And so was it part of the way you grew up that led you to want to mentor so much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. My dad has he's a pastor, a minister. My grandfather was a pastor. My sister's in ministry. I don't want no part of the pulpit. I can't quote not one scripture, but I do know my calling in Christ, which is to mold young men. That's what I'm passionate about, is that crossroads in life when, 15, 16, 21, 22, where you're at a crossroads and you can go this way, this way, and you just need that right guidance just to edge you in the right direction. Because I learned the hard way a lot of times, even with direction. I learned the hard way because I just wanted to do it my own way. But I'm passionate about how I mentor and how I teach through the business to help influence them to make better decisions.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So do you think this is not about all the way about fatherhood, but with you being such a powerful entrepreneur, do you feel like that's something that you can teach and pour into your children, into your young men that you're mentoring? Like, how do you navigate that too? Because you're passionate about entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Always have been. How do you teach that?
By example, especially this generation, they're motivated by flashy things. They want to live a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
So when you can't live that lifestyle, you don't have funds. And if you want funds coming in from every different angle, well, entrepreneurship or making investments. And it comes with work ethic. It's money management. You just can't make money and blow it. Look,
Right.
you see with Mr. Lou driving. I don't have to stunt for nobody. I don't have to impress nobody. But my plan is to set my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren with generational wealth.
Makes sense.
And it's all by example. By example. And they get it. The guys that are in my team, they get it. The guys that go through the Coco Christie experience, that's what we call it. The Coco Christie experience.
Yeah. I mean, it works though, because it was a grind. I remember one cart.
Yeah.
One cart. And then when I was at the National Cannabis Fest, like, what was that, two months ago?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
In
And I
DC.
text Lou, because he had 4 carts out there. He wasn't there. It's just his work. At every major thing you go to, you're going to see his cart. I want to bring up that picture. That iconic picture of, what was it, the January, what was it, inauguration?
Oh,
Where
no,
you're,
when I had him at the mall?
Yeah.
That was on USA Today. That was Al Sharpton's march on Capitol Hill.
Right, in a big picture, and you see just tons and tons of people. But
flooded.
you just see one stand, you see his thing popping up.
It was the 50-year anniversary of I Have a Dream speech.
That's what it
Wow.
was.
And out at the Capitol Mall.
And that big shot with everything there,
And
you
it's
don't
just
see
a cart.
anything.
And
You
all
just
you see
his
is my
cart.
umbrella is like in USA
That's
Today.
dope. That's dope.
Yeah, man.
Nah.
So and I remember you worked that, your kids was working with you.
Yeah.
Your kids will work. So is that something that you plan that they want to do? That you plan on having this, I want to set this up, so this is a business that not only am I showing my children that you can do your own thing, but I want this for you.
Yeah.
Because how'd you come up with the name of the company?
So Coco, Christie, Tropical Ices, Coco, Christie are my son's nicknames when they were kids. Coco is Carmelo, Christie is Christian. Now, Chris is 20, he goes by Chris. He don't go by Chrissy. Mello,
Right.
yeah. Carmelo was Coco as a baby, now he goes by Mello. But when I started the business, initially it was for them to run with. But now, they're young adults now, and I can't force it on them.
Right.
But I told them, this is in your back pocket. I don't want you to go to college to figure out what you want to do in life. I want you to go to college for the experience,
Yep.
to build the relationships. If I didn't go to Shaw University, if I didn't pledge Kappa Alpha Psi, I wouldn't know you.
Yep.
I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't know none of the brothers in this room. So for me, going to school, pledging Kappa Alpha Psi, getting the experience, gave me a whole different network, a whole different relationship of brotherhood. That's what I want for my children.
Gotcha.
I told them, you can go get D's and C's, whatever. Coco Christie's waiting for you. But if there's something else that you want to do in life and you're passionate about it, I got you. Like my oldest son, whatever he decides to do, it will be in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
He's a hell of a trainer. He has a Kobe, Michael Jordan work ethic.
Ooh.
He trains every day. He studies his craft. He perfects his craft. And he's passionate about it. And he was my 9th player in Little League in right field.
Oh, wow.
He just didn't have it naturally, initially.
Mm-hmm.
But he worked to become the beast that he is right now. So he can identify with that kid that got overlooked. And I said, we can use the Coco Christie money. You're still gonna work it, but I want you to have your own training facility.
Ha, that's dope.
I said, I'm gonna buy you a training facility. You're gonna sublet it out to other trainers. They're gonna pay you to use your. But if that's your passion, I will support that. And Mello too. I said Mello wants to do streaming, whatever, YouTubing. I don't know that language, but he's good at it though.
Right.
He's good at what he does. I don't know anything about it. I just okay, Papa, let's do whatever you got to do. But if you want to make some money, the business is here for you, and I'll support you.
Got you.
But I'm not giving it to you.
You got to work for it.
Yeah.
You got to work for it. You got to show effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you sit back and look at it, what are the lessons that you've learned from your first 2 boys that either you're improving upon or just holding on to with your youngest son?
So I get the question all the time, like, dude, you started over?
I say the same thing.
Yeah.
I went from 18 to 6. So,
we in the same boat.
we in the same boat now.
Nah, Chris will be 20. David is 3. But
So
for
you
me,
gonna start over longer than me.
yeah.
You got a 17-year gap.
But here's my response to that. I'd rather have a 3-year-old son than a 3-year-old grandson.
That's deep. That's deep. I feel you on that. Look, I feel you on that for sure.
Hey, we know something. We know something 35, 34, yeah.
But no, my sons can technically have babies
Yeah, of
right now.
course.
No,
Yeah, I know,
I don't
yeah.
want to be. I'd rather be a 3-year-old father than have a 3-year-old
Yeah.
grandson.
Yeah.
But when I had the boys, it was I didn't have prior experience, so there was a lot of things I could have done differently. And with this time around, I'm having fun. I'm having a whole lot of fun. It's because I'm financially, stable, secure, free. And I'm in swim class with him, taking him to the park in the middle of the day. During the week, I'm not at work. So I'm enjoying this whole process,
Right.
which I didn't have that luxury when I was younger, when I had the boys.
Did you feel like you cherished the moments with your older boys? Like, do you feel like you were cognizant enough to cherish those milestones or capture those moments for your memory bank? Then when you look at it now, you're older, you've been through it before, you have more maturity.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you take advantage and cherish those moments more, or have you always done that?
No, I think I've always done it. I think the 3 boys, it was a different process. And I wouldn't change either one of them. Minus the divorces.
Part of life.
Yeah.
Part of life. But,
part of life,
but
yeah.
as far as parenting and the relationships, I mean, yes, of course, there's things you could have done differently. But I have a lot of great memories. If I were to die today, my boys know that Daddy loved them.
Yeah.
Speaking of memories,
Yeah.
what was the first moment when you had that, I'm really a dad? Like, what was that moment? What was that I'm a dad moment for you?
It's a step further. It's even better because my first boy, we didn't know what we were having. We didn't know.
You wanted a surprise?
No, I think when we went to get, for the sonogram, they couldn't tell. I mean, the
Yeah,
technology
not
is
turn
different
around
then.
and all that other type of
and it
stuff.
was like
Gotcha,
a one-time
gotcha.
option at that time.
Yeah.
And I was in college, so that was a Medicaid baby. Like, I didn't have private insurance. Medicaid.
Yeah.
But, so I think it was like, okay, this is your one shot. Okay, we can't tell. My whole life, I wanted a boy first. Okay. Well, the last month, I was preparing my mind. What if I have a girl?
Ooh.
So I was like, you know what? Okay, I can have a little girl. And I was really comfortable with that. So she had a C-section when he was being delivered. And the two doctors, I'm standing behind her. They got the screen, covering her belly. And the doctors are digging her, like just with the clamps. And it's like, and I'm making these, that's the noises I'm making. Like,
it look like that hurt.
And she's like, stop it. And they're talking Duke Carolina basketball. Like nothing's going on right now. They're talking Duke Carolina basketball. So when they pulled Christian out, when they lifted him up, it was his butt. That's the first, I didn't even see his face. So they lifted him up. All I saw was his ass. But Chris had jet black, soft, silky hair. And it was down like with the placenta to like the middle of his back. So I was like, oh snap, I got a little girl. And they said, congratulations, Mr. Torres, you got a baby boy. Yeah! Man, as if I scored a touchdown.
You acted a fool.
The whole night just running around the nursery, just looking at him. I woke up the next day, my cheeks were in pain.
Oh wow.
From smiling so hard, man. So
wow.
Yeah.
So how did your boys, when you look back on it, what was the impact that they had on you as a man?
Like I said, they were my why. They were my reasons why. The jobs that I had before starting the business, the odd jobs that I took just to make extra money.
Yeah.
My first home that I bought, I wanted to make sure they had a home to grow up in. I mean, a lot of that comes from their mom, though. Their mom really pushed me to buying our first home, to entrepreneurship. She's an entrepreneur. Yeah. She pushed me in that direction. Said, why don't you do your own thing? Why don't you find something that you want to do? And everything that I've ever done as an adult with my sons was, how does it benefit them? Ooh. How does it benefit them? Not me. This right here, this is Walmart. This, I don't even know where this was from, but I didn't buy it from Lids or anything. My sneakers are from the outlets. Like I live a very simple life. Everything that I do is for my sons.
Gotcha. Perfect. Nah, I love it, man, because every time we talk about whatever. But hearing you talk about your sons, it seems like from where you grew up to where you are now, the change in you from when we were in the school before we were just out on our own, just
party hopping. This is my party hop partner.
Look,
right here.
we would set any party off. It was funny. It was funny. Hey,
Eli, you ready?
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it. 112 peaches and cream, come on, whatever. Sprinkles, whatever. Hey, it's old. Look, it's before the shoulders. Yeah, it's before the shoulders. But seeing that maturation process in you is something that's amazing, because it seems like you work so hard, but you're so dedicated to your boys, and that is a testament to the man that you are. And so the thing that I want to ask is around, how do you continually find time to navigate entrepreneurship, but yet finding time to spend time with your boys, make sure you're pouring into them, because you stay busy.
I do.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Time management, it's like pledging or college life, it has to be a balance. Now, I do work hard. I travel a lot, but there's times throughout the week where I have my shut-off switch, where it's my time, where I play golf, where I go play ball, or spend time with my sons.
Right.
I have a basic sleeping schedule where I'm not sleeping all the time or resting all the time, but you have to have that balance, and put your family first. Early on in the business, there was a lot of times where I was just grinding. And my older boys suffered from that. Like, I could have been at their games on the weekends. I was at their games during the week.
Yeah.
But on the weekends, that's when I worked. That's when I had to.
Right.
So my process, to grow the business and the business is successful, but the boys kind of got the blunt end of it.
Yep.
But the overall goal was for them. I didn't just was neglecting or not being there because I was partying or didn't want to go.
Right.
I was building something bigger.
So from a entrepreneurial aspect, that's something that we all have to do, because it's almost like our families in some aspect are going to suffer for us to get to that next level where everybody benefits.
Exactly.
And so when you sit back and look at it, did you have to sit down and have a conversation with them to help them understand why you missed the weekend games, or you just had to do it and they figure it out as far as that? How did you do that?
No, we communicated, and both my son's mothers have been very supportive.
Okay.
In the business. They understood, and they understand. I don't really have any issues with my youngest son's mom. He's still a baby boy.
Yeah.
So, but I'm positioning myself now so when he does start playing, I'm not gone all the time.
Yeah.
So I want to coach his games. I want to be there. But my older boys, their mom and I would have conversations where she's like, Lou, Chris really wants you to be there, or he's feeling this way. He sees the other kids' dads helping, out on the field and you're not there. So, can you do that the next game? So I will be there. I will drive to Charlotte, 2.5 hours from Raleigh. My boys play middle of the week. Go watch them play, participate, cheer them on, go in the dugout, hit them pop flies before the game, warm them up, stretch them out. Game's over. All right, Papi, I love you. Good game. Get in my car, go back home. 2.5 hours.
That's
just to let them know that I'm here. I can't come Saturday, Papa, because I got to work.
Yeah.
But I'm here now. You did a good job. So he understands that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and my boys understand.
And the dope part about what we're doing here, if I'm tooting my own horn, fuck it, why not? Not my own horn, but the show is, if they didn't know or they didn't understand, is this lives forever.
Yeah.
What we're doing here, right?
Right.
And so, if they didn't know before, they can actually sit back and look at this. It don't have to be now while they're still younger. It could be 10 years from now. It could be like, hey, if you didn't watch it before, watch this before you have your first child. So they can understand what you did and what you did for them, how much you meant for them. So it's dope. I wish I had something that my father could leave me, like I'm gonna get to you'll get to your question, but like just something that to know how much you love them. Like that's impactful because you don't hear that. You don't hear that from men, especially. Yeah. You always hear the mom or mama's boy or stuff like that, but when you hear a dad say how proud he is of his son, I mean that's important.
Yeah, true. Now, and you dig into a lot of things, and one thing that I want to ask, and we're not gonna keep you long, but what is something that you've learned from your boys, though?
My oldest boys, man, Christian and Mello, they're handsome boys. They're smart. They're athletic. They're charming. They're everything.
Yeah.
They get a lot of that from me. And their mother. However,
oh man, come on.
You asked me a question, I'm answering.
Oh man,
I'm answering.
This is arrogant joker right here.
I'm answering.
You call yourself the bougie baby daddy. You can't talk about
But
it.
I tell him all the time, because my oldest son, he's 20. You kissed a girl yet? You had sex yet? Nah, Daddy. I said, really? Why? And both of them. I'm waiting for the right one. It's just it's not my time. And
wow.
And in this day and age, and they're not shooting me no shit. Like,
That ain't the lesson they learned from
like
daddy.
for example, exactly, man. I'm like, they're totally different than me, which I love and I admire. And I tell them all the time, you are a bigger man than I was at your age and right now.
Yeah.
Because of your discipline and your self-control and your respect for yourself. I admire that.
Wow.
At 17 and 20 years old. Chris is in California right now in the Bay. right outside of San Francisco. I said, how the girls looking at your school? They treating you good? And he says, Daddy, I'm here on a mission. I'm here to play baseball. I train and I study.
Wow.
I said, my time to hang out will come, but right now, that's my focus. That was our conversation last week.
Wow.
When you got that type of focus, you got no choice but to be successful in life.
Yeah.
So that, that's something that I learned from them. Like, my sons are they're dedicated and they're focus driven, they're goal driven, but they have no distractions. And I could have been a whole lot further than where I'm at right now if I didn't have my distractions.
Yeah. Now you just taught me something. Just that you can learn something from everyone, and that's what made me want to ask that, because we pour into a lot of people. We pour into our children. We pour into younger people, younger men. But who pours into us unintentionally that we grab gems from? I was talking to a pastor earlier, and we were having a conversation, and I told him, I said, it doesn't matter who we view a person as, we can always pull something from them. Whether it's like we were talking about with learning from our fathers what not to do in certain aspects, or learning from other people what not to do. It doesn't matter. Younger or older, we can learn something from somebody. And you talking about your sons and learning that from them, and implementing that in certain areas of your business or your life now, yeah, that's really impactful. I like that.
Yep. I'm blessed, man. I got really good boys, man. Now, they got their share of opportunities.
I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that now. No question about it. I know who their father is. They taught them well.
Yeah.
When it's time, they know what to do.
Yeah. Or what not to do.
Or what not to do. Yeah, I got you.
I have a question. Do you take them back to where you're from?
All the time.
You
Since they were old enough to just road trip with me, every year a tradition for us, since they were like 5, was to go a road trip to the Bronx, go to the block, go get a Cuban sandwich.
Play stickball?
Nah. We go to Yankee games.
Okay.
Every year we go to a Yankee game, visit family. So now they know where I'm from and got to experience my life. Yeah.
Do they ever is it a sense of home that you try to pour into them, or you just bring them around family as far as when you do that tradition?
No, both. I come from a very family-oriented family. And I make sure that my boys have relationships with all of their family.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope.
So when we go to the Bronx or we go to Newburgh or visit any family in Florida, family's everything.
Gotcha.
That's why I joined the fraternity. When they asked me why I want to pledge Kappa Alpha Psi, I said I live here. I'm away from my family.
Hold on. I want to hear this story because there's a lot of different reasons why people pledge.
Oh no!
Okay.
And I say this story all the time.
Okay.
This was in my freshman interest meeting. I said I come from a big family. I don't know anybody in North Carolina, and I'm looking for a group that will support and embrace me just like my family back home would.
Oh wow.
And I identify with the brothers on the yard here, not the other fraternities, but this one right here.
Yeah, your story is much deeper than mine. We're gonna get my reason on the show eventually, because it's a dude that produces this whole show here. Just ended up with him in the car somewhere, and next thing you know, I'm online.
Oh, wow.
We'll get him on the show. Real
Oh,
soon.
I thought when you was on the car, you had already crossed.
No, I ain't even talking about you. This we're gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Eli.
So when you take your kids back and experience the family, that's a legacy piece,
Yes.
right? And so what is it that your family pours into them that they poured into you that's impactful?
Okay, that's a great question. Like, both my parents are from Puerto Rico. I'm first generation United. Well, I mean, Puerto Rico is
We got
but
you.
Mainland.
there you go. That's the first generation.
Mainland.
First generation. Born and raised in New York.
Yeah.
My mom and my dad moved. My mom as a teen, my dad as a boy. But Christmas time, Puerto Ricans, we have traditions. With music and food and just the culture, with the maracas and the guidos, and And my boys get to experience that every year since they were little.
Wow.
Where the family starts, playing the instruments and singing the cultural songs and eating the food. So I made sure that they understood their culture. Their mother's black.
Yeah.
So understood both sides. I think that's the first part of your question. I forgot what the second
Oh no,
part.
you're fine. No, you're basically talking about pouring your traditions and your
Yes.
Because like you said, you have two sides. Your boys have two sides. And so has there ever been a case where it ever caused any problems with them having two sides?
No, because I mean their grandmas, great grandmas, cousins, their mom enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
So we all as a family got to enjoy those moments together, whether it be Christmas, it would be in the summer, just a family picnic. Just both sides of the family were about love, and we all love the boys.
It was real family.
It was real family.
Real family on both sides.
Even when we were divorced.
That's dope.
Even when we were divorced.
That's
But I
dope.
get that from my parents, because even though my parents divorced as a child, it was weird. My friends used to think, that's your dad, that's your stepmom, that's your mom and your stepdad, but they're hanging out. And they're in the car together, or they're on vacation together, or they going to a Broadway play together. They would double date, bro.
That was early.
Yeah.
So
I know about that one.
So that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
Because even my parents, even to this day, there's no physical love. There's a love. There's no intimate love.
Yep,
That's the
intimate
word.
love, yeah.
But there's a respect that we have children together, and we're not going to be hard on each other and make it hard for them. So both sets of my parents were just on one accord.
Wow.
It was dope. Yeah. Even though my dad's divorced from.
Oh, there's a lot of numbers around here,
There's a
but
lot of numbers. So wife 3 and 4, Gloria and Mickey.
He need to teach a class.
We're cool.
Y'all need to
Gloria
teach
would
a
send me a
class.
message on Facebook, or an old picture she comes across, or Mickey. I call her on Mother's Day, and
right.
and it's all love, man. It's weird.
Wow,
Man.
that is crazy.
It's weird. I got like 3 mothers, 2 dads. And none of them are gay, man. Not that there's nothing wrong with it, man.
Hold on.
You can't.
Hold on.
You can't.
Where did that come from?
When you say I got 2 dads,
Yeah,
I got 2 moms.
Okay. It ain't
No,
the
you're right. You're right. But we're looking for somebody with 2 dads out there.
Yeah.
I know somebody got it.
Oh my God.
But look, Coco Christie events at Richmond Pride, Louisville Pride, Miami Pride. So,
Yeah.
Durham Pride. So, yes, we are
Equal
LGBT
opportunity
friendly. Yes.
Yeah, you forgot the rest of the letters.
Whatever.
But I got
Yes, they know, man.
Yeah.
You. Nah, man, go ahead and ask your question, man.
So before we get off the rails, I know you told your employee, but if you had to give advice to someone that's about to start this journey of fatherhood,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
Oh, that's a good question. When I was in corporate, I was taking a trip to California, a business trip, and the guy that I was sitting next to was on the phone talking to his son. I love you, daddy loves you, da-da-da-da. So I knew he was a dad, but he was older. But it was kind of creepy though, because the way he was talking to the kid was like the kid was 3 years old, but the kid was a grown man. But he was. So he asked me when he got off the phone, he said, do you have children? I said, yes, sir. Actually, I just had a little boy a few years ago. He says, if you don't remember my name or who I am, the one advice that I can give you is this. If you make a promise to your child, I don't care how tired you are, what obstacle you face, if you promise your child that you're going to do something, do it.
Yeah.
He says, your child is going to grow up in an era where there's superheroes and, you have Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. You're their superhero.
Wow.
So if you say you can do something, they're going to believe it. If you keep falling short and you don't do what they say, what you promised, then they're not going to believe in heroes anymore, and you're going to hurt them. And
wow.
I can't tell you what he looks like. He was a white man, but that's it. But I remembered that, like, right in my ear.
Wow.
So if there was a promise, if I said I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna make it happen. And that's something my ex-wife can, my Tori or the boys, I always said, if she says this needs to be done, whether I can do it or not, I will always say, I'll make it happen.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. And so when you sit back and thinking about it, you're talking about keeping that promise. And that's going to be a long-lasting impact. But when you're gone, when your days are over,
Yeah.
what do you want your legacy as a father to be?
Just a man that just unconditionally loved his children, that worked hard to position them to be the best men that they can be.
Wow. Can't ask for anything more than that.
That's it.
Because that captures everything.
Yeah.
And your story, your knowledge, your wisdom is something that we really, truly appreciate and the world is going to love.
Yeah.
And we're thankful that you took the time out of your busy schedule to sit down with us and share your story. And, you know, continue success, continue excelling in everything that you're doing. Because Coco Christie's Tropical Icy
Yeah.
is going to the next level.
Oh, it is.
And I see how much work you put into it. From starting with one cart to basically an empire.
Yeah.
Congratulations on everything, man, and thank you for taking the time again.
And we can't read an ad for you if you like keep saying the bad name bad like this. So get it together, boy.
My tongue is
Get it
thick,
together, man.
you know, so I'm trying not to stutter.
Listen, don't pay attention to us. Don't pay attention
But
to
nah,
us,
man, thanks,
We
man.
appreciate
Thanks a
it,
lot,
man.
man.
Well, thanks for
Appreciate it.
having me, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was fun, man.